Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
And my name is James. And yeah, here we talk about all things Star Wars. But before we get started, we have some people we'd like to thank.
We sure do, James. Darth Ace 1, Liam McCallan, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Deb McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Maka Talatala, Adam Haber, Brad Mackey, Front Row King, Darth Beard, Indiana Solo, and Mariana Atia Arnold. Thank you so much for supporting us for all these years. All of 2024 was awesome.
Yes.
And in 2025, we need the support, guys. LegionSabers.com. Visit them. Use the code stuff at checkout for 15% off. Go do it.
Do it. Those lightsabers are awesome, by the way.
Just saying. They are awesome. I mean, we were at SpaceCon. We dueled with them. It's a very interesting way how to select the different colors and sound effects and stuff. But once you get the hang of it, it's like really, really cool. Really cool.
And all
very impressed by them.
Just mess with Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber from Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. That lightsaber just looks so beautiful, and it felt like an actual lightsaber. It felt like a movie quality lightsaber, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's the closest you're going to get to a real lightsaber without having like a piece of plasma coming out and being like super dangerous.
Oh wow, we got people. Oh wow, okay. So John Mitchell said, sorry, and they popped up at the same time. So if you're watching us on YouTube, let us know. Throw us a comment. If you're on Facebook, let us know.
Throw us a like.
Throw us a like, please, and a
sub. Yeah, thanks to the YouTube community. We just hit a milestone in subscription, so thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. John Mitchell on YouTube says, do you think Luke will appear in The Mandalorian and Grogu? I could see Iger pushing for that. The movie would make $1 billion easily if they do that. So they would make $1 billion easily if they show him in the teaser or in the trailer. I think if we know he's going to be there, people are going to flock to the theater to see how it's done. I really hope with Mando and Grogu, we don't get the whole mystery box approach to how they promote the movie. I really hope we see like the promotionals, they're not just hiding it from us. So that's what I really think. And that's what I want. And do you think Luke will appear? I think Luke's gonna appear in Mandalorian and Grogu. There's no way he won't appear in Mandalorian and Grogu.
I really do like that strategy, John Mitchell from YouTube. They got to do it right, though. They, like James said, they got to advertise Luke, and then, oh my God, we're going to get Luke. So they got to meet those expectations in the movie where we get to see something really, really cool with Luke, even if it's just for like a few minutes or something. I mean, it's going to have to be like really kind of like different, new, really cool. Get that little payoff. And then when Filoni does his big team up movie that apparently is going to come out at the end of the decade, the Heir of the Empire, supposed league title, possible rumor title. That would be a great title. I mean, I don't know how you do not go with that title. You have maybe like the original big three in there in the Falcon. That would be terrific because so many people didn't like the fact that they didn't show up in The Force Awakens, and we were robbed of that while they were.
And I'm one of the few who was okay with the three not in the Falcon for one more adventure. I think it's over. The new blood has to come in, and that's what we got. But I agree, them doing it in this time makes sense. Them doing it in the Mandalorian and Grogu, that era, that makes a lot of sense for that to happen. And I hope we get it. And thank you to our YouTube user. I'm sorry we don't know your name, but No Failure Schwartz is bigger than mine, which is of course Spaceballs reference. Thank you for the Spaceballs reference.
And that sequel's going to come out here pretty soon, right?
I think so. Josh Gad is directing it, I believe.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I was ever going to hear that. But Bender, hello, thank you for joining us. What's in the box? Just because, why not? John Mitchell, the Mando movie has to do something massive to bring people back to Star Wars into the mainstream again. I don't know what it will be, but I think Luke could do it. I think showing the Millennium Falcon in the trailer also would do it. Showing showing Han Solo or Leia, like that would do it. That people would be like, oh my gosh, we're getting all of them in the movie and everything. We're getting all of them in another Star Wars film. So I think that would be great. What do we get? Zach from Japan. Oh, hey Zach, thank you for joining us. And he has a great question. Why don't y'all show up on Facebook anymore?
So Facebook changed the rules. Facebook did a thing where when we stream, now when we associate StreamYard, where we stream from, to Facebook, it only goes to the page and not the group anymore. And that changed like months ago. So that is totally out of our control, because otherwise we'd stream to our Facebook group, which shout out to our Facebook group. Zach always contributes. Awesome. Thank you. Hopefully we can see you in Japan, meet up, take some pictures, get some really nice Japan intel.
That would be cool.
Tips on where to go, what to do.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, Facebook has that limitation where we cannot stream to our group. We can stream to our page though. So if you haven't liked the page, you can go out to the page, like it, and then you'll get the notifications when we do eventually podcast here.
Sorry, but we're trying. John Mitchell, I pray we get an epic Mando and Grogu trailer at Celebration. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think a teaser would be nice. Something. But that's a whole year in advance. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole year. That I don't know. It would be crazy.
We got a lot for D23 though that we were not expecting.
Yeah,
so they've kind of built up hype there for something big in Japan, because unless they have some like huge announcements, which we hope we do in Japan, there should be a pretty epic Mando Grogu something or other happening there. You would think.
I would hope, and I think so. Noah, thank you for joining us. Hey boys, how we doing? Do y'all know if Mando movie is wrapping up Data Grogu's story? No, I believe this is just a chapter within their story. The rumor mill now says we are getting that season 4 of Mandalorian. So I think this is just a chapter to get us to season 4. Also a chapter to get, I think, start to bring everything together to get everybody excited for the big movie that's going to come out. So I think that's what Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be, and I'm looking forward to that. It would be awesome if Captain Rex is in the Mando movie. There's so many people they could pull from, and it's Filoni, so he knows those people. You know what I mean? Like he knows those characters that he could use. So I can't see why he wouldn't bring Captain Rex in. John,
yeah, shout out to Bender.
Yes, Bender, always on, and Noah, always on and helping us and talking to us. I'm waiting for Darth Beard to show up. Hopefully Darth Beard shows up tonight. John Mitchell on YouTube says, do you guys think we will get 2 movies in 2027 since they removed the 2026 date? If so, which movies would you think they would be?
I don't think we'll get 2 movies in 2027. To me, it just doesn't make
sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense all the way around. Financial sense, story sense. I mean, there's been so much upheaval behind the scenes with like writers and story, and it's like, what else is going on that we don't know that's affecting the whole process of getting multiple movies in 1 year, which I don't think is a great strategy for Star Wars. Star Wars needs to be like once a year, have that event movie, or once every 2 years, so you kind of build up a little bit more hype, and then they throw in their Avatar film, which I'm a fan of Avatar. I don't have anything against it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. Apparently, it's Tom Holland's favorite movie, which is kind of surprising. But
I liked the second one more than the first one, and I know people are like,
"Oh, I did too, man."
The second one was such a snooze. I was like, dude, that movie was amazing. I don't care.
Yeah,
what you're talking about,
and it feels like that movie should have been a little like boring and dull, but it wasn't, because all he did was like talk, like a huge chunk of it. It was like talking about family and the kids, and it worked. It worked, and it's like, wow, that's like something we should see in Star Wars, you know? But
yeah, I agree. But so that's our Avatar podcast, which will be coming out next year. Just that's a preview of our Avatar stuff podcast. But
I've been to Disney World like 5 times in like the past like 3 years, and I haven't gone on the darn Avatar ride.
What is that? Where did that come from?
I don't know. You got a ghost in your room, James.
I didn't even do a thumbs down.
There's a force ghost lurking in James's place.
That was weird. Did y'all see that? That was weird. Okay. Anyways,
are you close to the Cecil, James?
It makes sense. Yeah, John Mitchell does have a point. It does make sense for the 50th anniversary, and re-releasing A New Hope in theaters would make a lot of money for Disney. Like that would make so much money for Disney if they were to re-release A New Hope. You don't think so? Why are you looking at me like that? That would make everybody
I
would want
don't
to see
know,
A
man.
New
I
Hope
don't
in theaters again.
know. I mean, they're gonna have to, in my mind, thinking about it, like, yeah, it's a 50th anniversary. Yeah, that's big time. That's a big deal. But are people gonna want to go back? I guess yeah. Technically, people are gonna go. But see, there's been so many marathons up
Yeah,
until
that's true.
now that a lot of people have gotten their fix from going to these marathons. But then again, some people haven't had the chance to. If they do like a proper traditional theatrical run of A New Hope,
I
maybe. But it's like they need to drop like like something before the movie or after the movie.
hmm.
Maybe after the movie where they do like a live stream of like an interview with the remaining original creators, of Star Wars, and we get something new. There has to be something new for us to go, because kind of like with the drop with the Phantom Menace last year, they dropped
Oh yeah, the Acolyte
that
intro.
acolyte stuff at the back of it. Yeah, so they have to do something like that.
That would be cool.
Hopefully,
Maybe we get like a hit of the Dawn of the Jedi in 2020. If it's in 2027, the Dawn of the Jedi might be the thing we get. But
what
like,
would be cool though, if they got all the living directors right now, that
oh,
like the huge directors like Christopher Nolan, etc., to all just kind of talk about Star Wars.
that would be
You know?
so cool. Because Star Wars means so much to a lot of prolific directors today. Hell, even Ridley Scott says Star Wars was like a huge deal, and he's a legend. And he
Yeah.
still acknowledges what Star Wars did. I agree. That would be really cool to see. But honestly, I don't even think you need all that. I think you just tell people, "Hey, we are re-releasing A New Hope on May 25th in 2027 back in theaters. Show the trailer. Just I guarantee you people will be flocking back to the theater to watch it because it's the first one. It's A New Hope. It's so great. And even I watched it the other day on VHS and it was still so much fun to watch that movie. So,
And I got to tell the story. I got to tell the
okay,
story.
here we go.
So my brother, he started taking me to the movies like back in the mid 90s, late 90s. We were going to the movies every time he'd come and visit. Um, and we went to go see, like, that was like our tradition. We went to go see a movie like every time he came. So the movie that was like up, that we were like, yeah, let's go check it out. So we went to go see Beavis and Butthead.
Do America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the trailer that they had before it was that Star Wars special edition trailer with the TV in the
TV.
middle of the screen. And we were sitting kind of like close to the front. And I had never seen Star Wars on the big screen.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so when I saw it on the TV, I was like, yeah, okay. And then when the TV disappeared and that X-Wing came at you, I was like, oh my God. This is I get it now. I get why it was such a like a mind-blowing experience. To see it that big and that loud was just like, it was like a second like boost of my fandom, because it's like
Oh
I
man, that's
kind of
so
get it
great.
now, man. It's just incredible. It was so incredible on like your TV in the living room, but seeing it on the big screen and just loud with all the effects, just I
Mhm.
mean, it was a crazy experience. It's a core memory. I'll never forget it.
It was a big deal when that re-release happened in 1997. And I remember seeing the same
Yeah,
trailer that David saw and just being like, "Oh my gosh, I get to see Star Wars in the movie theater?
yeah.
What?" And it didn't disappoint. It was so cool. It was so great. And yeah, I have a feeling if they do it again, it'll make a lot of money. So let's let's all tell Lucasfilm they need to re-release A New Hope. John Mitchell says my three favorite Disney Star Wars project live action are Ahsoka, Rise of Skywalker, Mandalorian season 2. Hot take or no? No, I'm not gonna say hot take. I'm gonna say that's a pretty solid list. That's a good opinion to have. Um, I like us. I think Ahsoka is my second favorite live action show that's happened on Disney Plus. And I like the Rise of Skywalker. I think what's interesting about the Rise of Skywalker, the more time that passes for the Rise of Skywalker, I think a lot of people are going like, It's not even that bad. It's a pretty good ending to the story, which I think it is. I think The Rise of Skywalker is a pretty darn good film. And David and I remember we watched it twice in one night. Remember we saw it,
Did
and
we?
that was your third time watching it.
We watched it twice in one
No,
night, James.
well, no, not together. You watched it
Oh,
with your wife, and then I watched it. Then you and Joseph and I went to go see it again.
okay.
The Rise of
Huh.
Skywalker,
I don't
and
remember that.
but yeah, I remember that. That was the night it came out, and but yeah,
I remember we all went to the San Marcos Starplex to go see it. That's
yes,
the
yeah, that was
last movie I saw at the Starplex because now it's like demolished.
oh, it's gone. Oh, that's
It's
so
totally
sad.
gone.
Oh, that makes me so
I think
sad.
there's apartments there now.
They pay Paradise to put in a parking lot.
Man, that's the theater I saw The Dark Knight in for the first time.
Whoa,
Midnight
that's
showing.
crazy.
Um,
I
I
saw Revenge of the Sith there with my sister. That was the second time I watched it. I went to go watch it there in San Marcos with my sister. It was so cool.
Yeah, I love the Starplex. A lot of great memories there. They had rocking chairs, no assigned seats, so you
Yeah,
had
it
to get
was.
there early.
Yep, it was fun. I
Old
enjoyed that
school.
place.
Yeah.
They had concession stands in the halls that they never used ever, but you know, it's just
Really?
like,
I
yeah,
didn't
they
know
had
that.
those. Yeah, they had those concession stands in the halls. But what are we talking about? Star Wars? Yeah, I'm just joking. But yeah, I think 2027 they could do something really really big for that. And speaking of 2025, we already got the logo for the Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary, which David, Revenge of the Sith is 20 years old this year. So think about that. You feel old?
Yeah. I remember leaving that movie theater being very depressed when I saw it at midnight, thinking that Star Wars was over and we weren't going to get anything Star Wars centric until my thought was until George Lucas maybe willed it to his kids and his kids took over
Yeah.
because it felt like George Lucas was super staunch on not giving it up, not selling it, not doing anything because at that time the prequels were not well received.
Yeah.
And he was frustrated by that and he was like you'll see. And now look at all the adults that
Yeah.
used to be kids. They love it. They eat it up. And us too. I mean, we loved it from the get-go.
Yeah.
I was just so fascinated by it. And I mean, I got something that I can share that it's going to sound totally ridiculous. And I don't even think I've ever told you this, James.
Oh, I'm a little weirded out right now. Are we doing this? We're gonna do this live? Okay, let's
So
do this.
so I was so into the hype for the Phantom Menace. I mean, it warped my sense of reality in a way because I was thinking, guys, once they release this movie, it's not going to be worth releasing other movies, you know? I'm like, Fight Club? I mean, why even release that? It's like everyone's going to see the Phantom Menace. It's Star Wars, man. What? The Spy Who Shagged Me? Who's going to watch that? Why is South Park releasing a movie? It's like everyone's going to go see Star Wars. And then that night, of course, I saw my whole town inside of a theater and I was just blown away. I was like, Grandma's here and Grandpa. I never see them out. So, yeah, it was, I mean, it was really before the internet. Before the internet as we came to know it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just mind blowing. Somebody posted, I think I sent you the picture. Somebody posted all the Mountain Dew cans and Pepsi cans with all the characters. And man, that brings so many memories. I never drank Mountain Dew before, and then I started drinking it because
I've never drank Mountain Dew before or since then.
Yeah.
I mean, but I still,
since then
I still do drink Pepsi because of that, because Pepsi and Mountain Dew were doing the promotion. And man, I remember going to the store and going to the soda, you know, the cooler right there by the checkout and looking for Darth Maul because he was on a Mountain Dew can and he was impossible to find. Darth Maul
my
was
gosh,
the hardest character to find. And I remember I found him on a bottle, and I was so happy I had Darth Maul finally. And yeah, that year, yeah, 99 warped my brain, 2002 warped my brain, and 2005 was huge because it was like David said, it was like this is the last one. This is the last Star Wars movie we're gonna get. And I just remember having the making of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the book, and just looking at the pictures every day, every chance I got, I would take it to school. I was a sophomore in high school. And I'm just there with this book looking at all the pictures. My friends thought I was ridiculous for doing that, but I couldn't get enough. I was so excited for this movie. And John Mitchell in YouTube, he said that opening battle was the coolest thing. Yeah, the drums at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith are so amazing. And it was like
Yeah.
setting you up like, all right, get ready because this movie is not going to slow down. And that movie does not slow down. That movie just keeps going, keeps going. The story keeps building. And then you get to the finale, the fight, which I've said it before, the lightsaber fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan is the longest sword fight in movie history, which I think is crazy that Revenge of the Sith holds the record of the longest sword fight in a movie ever.
And it's hated in you, and it's not stunt doubles doing it.
And that was just everything when that movie came out 20 years ago. So yeah, 20 years ago.
It feels appropriate though. Does it feel appropriate that it was 20 years ago? Because it feels like a long time ago for me.
It honestly, it does. The one that doesn't feel that long ago. And
The
I know
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens is 10 years. It's going to turn 10 years this year. That is weird. David and I were talking about this, what was it, yesterday? And we were like, dude, 10 years ago, now I was already like, had my calendar saying, I have to make it to December to watch episode 7. Because at that time, I don't think we knew the title of episode 7 at the beginning of 2015.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, another thing. Yeah. So we're getting a 20-year anniversary of Revenge of the Sith and a 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens.
Yeah. 10 years ago, I was 33, right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So that whole year, I've talked about on the podcast before, but it hijacked my whole year in 2015. But the thing that I was doing that I wasn't able to do for the Phantom Menace for that go round was actually listen to podcasts. And that's how I kind of got into it and found out that people were actually finding out things that you would think they wouldn't be able to find out. And somebody actually got the script for the original The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I listen to it? Should I not listen to it? Because I didn't read the script that got leaked by Ain't It Cool News back in 1998 or whatever. And that was online. I never read it. I don't even think I had the information that it was out, even though I was like surfing the net on a T1 line at school constantly for Star Wars. But listening to podcasts gave me, it fed the hype for me personally, because there was people that had theories and about the names, about what could possibly happen with these characters. And once they released the names, I think they're very you kind of knew that the names were going to grow on you eventually, because like Poe Dameron, that was an interesting name, and then Finn for John Boyega's character. It's all like kind of just baked into our heads now, but at that time they pointed out, it's like, well, hey, if you're back in the 80s and you find out there's a character named Lando Calrissian, that just sounds really weird. But now it's just like synonymous with Star Wars, and it's like weaved into the fabric of the zeitgeist, and everyone knows who Lando is,
just like Qui-Gon Jinn. When we first heard Qui-Gon Jinn's name for Phantom Menace, we're like, what?
I think that's the exception to the rule, James.
Oh, really?
Because when I heard that name, I was like,
you're like, that's Star Wars. Or how do we not?
How do I know this name? Like it like set off like alarms in my head. Like, I know this from somewhere. It just works. That's another aspect of Star Wars I don't think it's talked about, is just the naming conventions.
Oh, yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I guess it has to roll off the tongue, Yeah.
Luke Skywalker.
Once it does that. Yeah. You think Skywalker, but then you say it so many times that you don't have to think about it anymore.
And Vader, such a good name too, Skywalker. Like it just makes sense. Yeah. Before we go on, hold on. We got a lot of YouTube. I wish we do.
Yeah, let's jump back to the comments right quick.
Wow, I was 35 when Force Awakens came out. I was 27 when Force Awakens came out.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Yeah. My name is Earl is 20 years old. That's wild.
Huh. Jason Lee.
In any of the next films, Adam Haber asked, in any of the next films, will we see lightsaber fight akin to Annie Obi-Wan Episode 3 or Maul? It just depends on the caliber of Jedi we are seeing within those movies. I think that's what a lot of people I know a lot of people criticized Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi for the fights. Like, look at how do we go from this to this? And I was like, well, the story made sense why the fights were like that within the prequels. And George Lucas even said this is why the fights are like this. And I honestly, this is where I always tell people, Star Wars fans, not us, but that sect of Star Wars fans who complain about everything, they would have complained if Rey and Kylo Ren were fighting like Obi-Wan and Anakin. They would have been like, where was their training? Why are they fighting like that? They shouldn't be fighting like that. So no matter what, that fight was always going to get criticized, no matter what happened. And yeah, the Acolyte had amazing fights. Like that was incredible.
Anytime Manny Jacinto fought, it was fast, intense, aggressive stuff we haven't seen before. Headbutting blades.
So great. Stabbing people. Like I was like, this is cool, man. That's what I like a lot. But yeah, and it made sense for the Acolyte to do that because of the time and the Jedi that are there. So that makes a lot of sense for those fights.
Yeah.
Noah says, I'm 27. As someone who grew up with the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith doesn't feel like 20 years ago since they're constantly built up the lore around the era. It's hard to feel old when they keep adding new things.
Yeah. You have a different experience than me because I was a kid watching Return of the Jedi, asking where's the next film. And I was told there are no more films. And I was like, well, these are super successful. They're going to make new films, right? So no, George Lucas decided to quit, be a producer, work on ILM, his companies, LucasArts, and concentrate on his family. He just got a divorce, adopted 3 kids, decided to raise his kids up until adulthood, and then decided to start with The Phantom Menace, which 1980, I mean, I probably stopped watching those VHSs on constant rotation, maybe like in 1986-ish. So from 1986 to 1999, I had no new Star Wars live action. That's a lot of time for a young kid to just go that long without anything Star Wars. I'd go to flea markets. I'd see all the vintage figures. I would go to a store called Gibson's in my hometown. They would have some figures. They would have some lightsabers occasionally. But other than that, of course, there's no internet. Star Wars was like a legacy brand even at that time. It felt like it was old, but it was the best. And it's like, how can you not keep on making the best stuff? Didn't make sense. But I didn't understand the fact that it was like an independent movie franchise pretty much owned by one guy. So the studios had no direct involvement. They couldn't force the film, which we all don't want that. So yeah, it was a big gulf of time. It feels like that was 50 years to me. In my head, in my time living right now, it feels like that was like 50 years. Felt so long. That's why I was so hyped for The Phantom Menace. And that's why I was so hyped for The Force Awakens, because I got to experience that once in a lifetime thing, assumably twice in my life, which it's like, I'm a big sports guy. It's like winning a championship, you got to experience it again. Have that feeling. It's all about the feeling, James. Having that feeling, the hype.
I know. Why are you talking to me like this? Well, so my Star Wars journey is funny because I find Star Wars and I get the toys, and then the special edition comes out, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, because I'd only been watching those VHS tapes, and then the special edition comes out. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. This is awesome. It felt like Star Wars was new again, and then I get the Phantom Menace a couple of years later. So for me, it was like, I hate to say it, but I was like the right age, because it was like, oh, I got Star Wars, I got the special edition, and I got the Phantom Menace, and it was so cool. And then flash forward to 10 years ago, now I'm freaking out knowing that there is another Star Wars movie coming out. It's not fake. We had just seen the teaser of the Falcon flying, and it was like, oh my gosh, we're getting more Star Wars movies, and that's wild. That's really wild. John Mitchell says Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie has potential to be the best Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith. That movie, and it's hard not to be hyped for that movie, because that movie, there's a lot riding on that Dave Filoni film, and because we're gonna get Star Wars back in theaters, we're gonna get an opening crawl before the movie. So it's like, man, it's gonna feel like they have to bring Star Wars back. And
when we have the Rogue One special edition, can we get the crawl in front of that?
No, they're not gonna do that. You crazy. I would love for them to do that, but they're not gonna. What do we got? We get it. You're old. Somebody said you're old. I couldn't imagine a 13-year gap with nothing from the galaxy far, far away. I start bugging when I don't get anything in like 3 to 5 months. And I will say we are very spoiled now that we're getting a new Star Wars something each year, which I know a lot of people are like, man, we're Star Wars. I was like, we're still getting shows every year, so it's pretty great.
Yeah,
That would be insane if James Gunn made a Star Wars film. I don't think he would. I think he's building up his DC uh universe right now.
I got something to say about that.
Oh, here we go.
So I've been following James Gunn pretty closely since Guardians of the Galaxy, and I've even gone back and forth with him on the internet. But he has said multiple times, he's been asked direct questions and he's given like no answers to things that have really been yeses. Like he was asked if he'd ever do a Superman film. He said no in the past.
Yeah.
He was asked if Guardians of the Galaxy were going to appear in Avengers. He says, no, I don't see why they would. And of course they appear in Avengers. So him saying no, I mean, I wouldn't count it out. I mean, he is probably going to have one of the great years as an executive with Superman coming out in July. And then the DCU is probably going to be great. So that's going to kind of remove him from the possibility of doing a Star Wars film because the WB is outside of the whole Disney umbrella and family. So, I mean, he's one of the creators that is kind of locked out. It all depends on. I would really love to see some of these major directors do a Star Wars. Denis Villeneuve just came out and said the Return of the Jedi ruined Star Wars for him for whatever reason.
Wow, yeah,
that's his opinion.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, I don't want to do a Star Wars film. But then he does Dune, which was inspires Star Wars so much. In that third movie, it's nothing like Return of the Jedi. Maybe that was almost like pre-marketing for Dune 3, Dune Messiah. Yeah. Because it is nothing like Star Wars, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird. I've heard stories about what's gonna happen to Dune Messiah, and I'm like, people are gonna be really, really weirded out by it. Hold on, guys. Y'all are going way too fast. We thank you so much for joining us on YouTube. Bring back John Williams. Yeah, I want to hear his theme before a Star Wars movie. That'd be pretty cool. Knights of the Old Republic remake or Eclipse Games news at Celebration. I'd see a Knights of the Old Republic remake before Eclipse, because Eclipse, there's a whole controversy around Eclipse and the creator of that, and there was a whole thing where they were like, this game is probably not even going to happen. Adam Haber says give Bryce Dallas Howard a film.
I think everyone universally agrees with that.
Rick Famuyiwa is better than Bryce. And that's a little, I don't know. Both of them, I think, are pretty great. Although Rick Famuyiwa's episode in Mando season 2 was that was incredible. His writing.
Which one was that?
That was the season. Oh, geez, I'm getting confused.
Season 1, episode 2, when Mando was on like the sand crawler and falls off. I remember that was a great one because I love Jawas.
Season 2 had the one with Bill Burr and them trying
to at the very end, and he had that monologue. Yes, I mean a lot of that was Bill Burr though. That was Bill Burr's acting ability. Yeah,
but the writing of that episode was really great, and I really liked that episode a lot. Somebody said, well, we want crappy Star Wars shows often or wait 2 years for quality. I just need
I would say wait. We don't want to force anything, pun intended.
I get it. And Mai says hello. Thank you very much. Then Adam, I'd rather wait. It would kill me to wait, but we need quality. Joseph Kosinski, not Krasinski, but Kosinski for Star Wars movie. He directed, of course, Tron Legacy and Top Gun Maverick.
Which is already a Star Wars film on Earth.
Top Gun Maverick was a Star Wars film. We're not going to talk about that. But Top Gun Maverick was amazing.
And he also did the other Tom Cruise science fiction movie. Oblivion. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. So I could see him moving over to Star Wars. Enjoying this episode. Currently sick with the flu. Listening to the pod is making it better. Oh, thank you.
I
Sorry
hope
you're
you get
sick.
better.
Hope you feel better. Yeah, I sound terrible now. I just apologize, everybody. But yeah, so that's where we are. But yeah, I agree with Kaczynski coming in. That would be pretty cool. It would be really. I think a lot of people would be excited too because of how well received Top Gun Maverick was, and that movie was like stupidly well received. It was just everybody loved it. Everybody loved Top Gun Maverick. I'd like to see the Russos take a shot at Star Wars. Those two plus RDJ. That's some sort of smart. No, please leave Robert Downey Jr. out of Star Wars because I don't know. If Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in it, I need him to not be Robert Downey Jr. I need him to be like he was in Oppenheimer, where I was like, oh, look at Robert Downey Jr. freaking killing it, like just doing a great job. I don't know how I feel about that one, but anyways, so the Russo brothers doing Star Wars would be actually pretty cool. So, oh, but hold on, Chris Nolan interview didn't say no to Star Wars.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
that's
did a
right.
rapid fire.
You remember what he said? Would you ever direct a Star Wars movie? He paused, went pass.
Yeah, he said pass to a few things.
But it was that pause that everybody was like, "What's going on?"
So if Christopher Nolan's next film, which is going to be The Odyssey, if it knocks it out of the park, and then he goes, "I think I want to do a Star Wars film," can you imagine the hype for that thing?
That it's like there's no words to describe the hype around that movie. Like, and geez, Christopher Nolan is directing The Odyssey. That's like saying Stanley Kubrick is going to direct. You know what I mean? Like it's the name and then the project is insane.
Right.
And we all figured Nolan's gonna, absolutely just destroy with that movie. So yeah, that would be pretty freaking amazing. To
So
see
Christopher Nolan right now is the greatest living director making movies right now.
I would have to say he's one of the greatest living directors.
Who's better than him right now, James?
I mean, making movies. Yeah, you're right. I was gonna say David Fincher, but Fincher hasn't done much.
Yeah, Fincher's great, but I mean, yeah, he's not doing anything currently. I mean, he did that Michael Fassbender film on Netflix,
which was not my favorite Fincher movie that he's done. But okay, yeah, let's say that Nolan is probably the greatest living director currently, and making movies still.
Right.
I mean, Dunkirk and Interstellar,
I would say the greatest directors of all time is like Spielberg, Scorsese, but and Spielberg is releasing a Alien film this year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, hopefully
not the franchise Alien, but like a UFO film.
Although I would love to see that movie. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I think hopefully Nolan doing a Star Wars movie would be amazing. Whoever YouTube user is, they need me in the films. I agree. I need to be in those films as well. So
yeah, James is an actor. He's pretty good. I've seen him on the big screen actually.
Oh jeez.
It is quite the thing to know somebody in real life, then see them act and like, wow, that's somebody else.
Well, I thank you, David. I appreciate that. And you know what? That movie might actually be released this year. So just saying, we might actually get a release of that movie. And it does release, I'll let everybody know and you can watch it.
And it's worth it just to see James, because it's like, what? It's like I always tell the story. My wife turned to me and she goes, "Is that how James really is?" I was like, "No, he's acting. This is a movie. He doesn't act like that."
It was funny because after the movie, somebody came up to me and they were like, because in the movie, I know this is not Star Wars, but the movie I was in, I played a character who has OCD and I had to do these things and I lost weight. I shaved my head. I did a whole thing. And I had to do this. I really wanted to be kind of
even full Christian Bale on us.
Full Christian Bale. And somebody afterward was like, "Do you really have OCD? Because you did that so well." And I was like, "No, I don't." And they were just like, "Oh, well, how did?" I was like, "I just pretended like I'd anyways." But yeah, I would like to do a Star Wars movie. That'd be pretty great. Could Cal Kestis be in the Mando movie, or should they keep him in the games? Most definitely he should be in the Mando movies. 100% needs to show up to save the day because you have him. Cameron Monaghan is a phenomenal actor, and why would you not use him? So I think he needs to be in the movie.
Yeah, he should be freed, so to speak, after the storyline ends with the trilogy of games. So
yeah,
there shouldn't be any blockades.
Yeah, John Mitchell says they need to give Nolan creative freedom like they did Tony Gilroy.
They would.
And
there'd be no way they would.
what I would love is if Nolan's little brother Jonathan Nolan helps him write the Star Wars movie, because those
Yeah.
two brothers are amazing together. And what's funny was Nolan did not want to do The Dark Knight. He only wanted to do Batman Begins and then say, okay, someone else will take it. But Jonathan Nolan, his little brother, said, man, this could be the Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars. This could be the Terminator 2. This could be Aliens. And then that was what made him go, all right, let's see what we can do. And we get the Dark Knight.
God.
So
Let him cook.
let him cook. Geez, we have so many people. Where are we at? Where are we at? I'd love it if the Duffer Brothers who created Stranger Things make a Star Wars movie or a show. I think that'd be pretty rad.
I agree.
I
Stranger
agree
Things is
too,
ending.
but they need to, if they're gonna do a Star Wars, they need to do a Star Wars show and not wait 12 years in between to tell a whole story. Like we need stuff from them. They're taking their time with Stranger Things right now. So but that'd be pretty cool. I like the Duffer Brothers. The last season, I heard some people who said the last season of Stranger Things they hated. And I was like, I thought the last season of Stranger Things was amazing. I thought that was very, very well made. I
I've
love it.
heard everyone just about that I've spoken to have said that it's really great.
I don't know what it is. I guess people here in California, I don't know, but yeah, people were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that was
They're all
so
jaded where you
dumb."
live, James.
What was that?
They're all jaded over there in
Oh yeah, they're
Hollywood.
like, "Oh, we've seen better than this." You know who I can't tell you who I saw today. Never mind. I saw a living legend singer slash performer today at work, and
Barbra Streisand.
no, that would be insane. But this, after we record, I'll let you know who it was.
Why can't you say it on the podcast?
I can't be talking about who I see at work.
Oh,
That's not the way it
okay.
goes. Because where I work, a lot of celebrities go to this particular store, and I used to hear about that, but then now that I'm working there, I'm like, oh, they're not lying. You see some people walk up in here, and so it's pretty cool. I could see Filoni being all for that. Oh yeah, are we saying for Nolan? Hey, I can see Filoni being excited for Nolan to pop in, because that'd be pretty awesome. Make the Vader movie. Hayden has he has all the momentum. Like, put him front and center on a poster. Hayden Christensen in a Darth Vader movie. That's $1 billion. Like, maybe no. That is $1 billion right there for Star Wars.
I'm still seeing people post about a possible Obi-Wan season 2 thing happening.
No, I'd rather a Vader. That's just me.
Well, I mean, you can have Vader in there, so it's by default. I mean, you're gonna have to put Hayden in there somehow, some way. You know?
True. But man, putting Hayden in a Vader movie and him as the main character, and then letting people know, oh yeah, by the way, Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman are going to be back. We're going to get flashbacks. Written by Dave Filoni, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna kill. That would be so great. People would love that. YouTube users, Spielberg is the best still living.
Spielberg when we're talking about directors, we're talking about the best living director making the best stuff now.
Yeah.
Of course, Spielberg is the greatest director of all time, in my opinion. But
of all time, yeah, I agree.
I mean, he's not doing like blockbusters like he kind of used to with like Jurassic Park and E.T. and
what was his last big blockbuster? I don't think.
I really wish it was Ready Player One. I love that movie.
You bought me that poster. You got me that.
Oh yeah,
that poster right there. Yeah, you got that I freaking love that movie. That movie was so cool.
It's a great film.
And then
lots of Star Wars references.
Nobody went to go see it. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it made no sense. Trailer was great. I don't know. It's just one of those weird things.
I still sometimes will listen to the trailer music because they have an orchestra, like a choir version of "Take on Me," and it sounds pretty awesome. So,
dude, that's another core memory for me. I was in Kohl's shopping with my wife when I saw the trailer on my phone, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like straight out of my head." They made this movie, and it's Steven Spielberg.
Oh, and if y'all haven't seen Ready Player One, go watch it tomorrow. Yeah. Like, watch it is so cool. Would you bet on John Boyega being brought out at Celebration this year for the 10th anniversary?
50% chance.
Oh, 50%. I'm gonna say there's like a 0% chance, but that's what would be the ultimate coolest thing ever. So
okay, I need to lower my percentage because the Rey film is like up in the air. So
I'm sorry, Zach. Zach is YouTube user. Okay,
yeah,
just put that out there, Zach. I am so sorry. But in my defense, I think Zach, your name is usually like there. So today it's not. So I'm just a little, just throwing me off. Thank you, Zach. I could be an alien, which, you know what? I don't care. I don't care if I'm in costume, like completely covered. I would still be in a Star Wars movie. I think you guys should have cameos as X-wing pilots. I would. That would be one of the ultimates. Being in an X-wing with the helmet on, the jumpsuit, talking to a droid behind me, and oh my, like miming the whole flying. I don't know. It
And
just
apparently, I can have glasses in Star Wars now, so there's a lot
apparently,
of that.
yeah. Y-wing pilots. Oh, what's that?
No,
Oh, speaking of that, Gold Leader, the actor who played Gold Leader, passed away.
yeah, I
Right
saw that.
at the beginning or the end of last year. Like, it was
The
really
end of 2024, I believe.
yeah. So the actor who played Gold Leader, which he says funny, he had the lines, he couldn't memorize them. So when you watch A New Hope, when Gold Leader is talking, he's looking at his lap. It looks like he's looking at his controls, but he's
At the
reading his
console, yeah.
yeah, he's reading his lines that whole time, and it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Sean Levy is doing a Star Wars movie, and he's a big part of Stranger Things. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Sean Levy needs to hurry up here. Skeleton Crew is Stranger Things.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say Skeleton Crew is it's pretty yeah. I really enjoyed the 4th season of Stranger. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Maybe I'm just talking to the wrong people here in California, because
I think so, James, because
I
around these
freaking
parts,
around these parts here in Texas, everyone loves Stranger Things. But
yeah.
oh my gosh, I said something at work today and my southern accent came out, and it was just the most disgusting sound. I was like I'm sorry. I forget
the most disgusting sound.
because it
So
just
I've been told like years
you
ago,
do.
they're like,
We all
I
do.
can tell you're Texan. I'm like, you can? I thought I just have like a plain English way of speaking, American English. And they're like, no, I could tell you're Texan. I'm like, okay. I don't know. I can't
Well,
hear it.
when I say, I'm gonna try my best not to do the accent, but when I say y'all,
Yeah, that's the big
that
one.
comes out so southern. I will say how I'm not gonna do it now on here, but when I say
How y'all doing?
it's people look at me like, I wasn't expecting that out of you.
Yeah,
anyway.
I had cousins from Arizona come over and they were like, you keep on saying y'all. I'm like, okay, yeah, what's wrong with that?
It's
And they're like, it sounds like you're a Texan. I was like, well, I kind of am. That's what everyone says around here.
Adam Hamer on YouTube just you saw Corey Feldman at work today. That would be something, though. That would be. I would have pictures posted of him. I would get fired just to get a picture with Corey Feldman.
I think there's a higher percentage of you seeing Corey Feldman where you work as opposed to seeing John Boyega on the stage at Celebration.
Ouch. That hurts. Vader killing Grogu would make bank if it was a movie. That would be sad. Don't do that. Plus, it's physically impossible for that to happen. So it's not going to happen. Don't ruin that. What is the best Disney Star Wars trailer?
That's a good question.
That is a great question.
That is a good question.
I might be just super lame and say Chewie We're Home was just one of the best moments ever. Seeing that trailer, hearing the music, that image of the Star Destroyer buried in the sand, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then the very end with Chewie, and you see We're Home. Oh, that was it, man.
Do you kind of feel like that trailer kind of over promised in the film, even though it was good? We all kind of universally liked it. It's somewhat kind of under delivered on kind of the promises, so to speak. It did with the trailer.
I don't know. I think it's funny because you needed to show a legacy character somewhere in the trailer, which is why you show Han Solo. But when that moment came up, we all knew it was about to happen in The Force Awakens. We all were like, here it is. And then it happened, but it didn't have that moment that like, oh my God, like, but I still think that trailer was just one of the best in the Disney Star Wars era.
Yeah, to me, nothing's going to beat the Phantom Menace teaser.
But they
that
asked
people paid money to go to the theater just to watch on the big screen for.
Disney, though, the Disney one. What do you got? What's your favorite Disney
The
one?
trailer, the best trailer music, however, that is from The Force Awakens trailer.
Oh
That music
yeah.
was incredible, man.
So the opening shot was originally, wasn't it supposed to be the stars, and then Ray pulls over the curtain, and that
Right.
was like supposed to be the opening shot of the Force Awakens. Um, I remember hearing like that was like
Well, the
talked about.
original opening for The Force Awakens was Luke's hand
So it
flying in
was, yeah,
space with a saber,
and then
and then
the
the
other,
hand burning away in the atmosphere and the saber dropping to a planet.
and then there was another opening for Force Awakens, which was the Star Destroyer flying over a desert planet, and then it gets let go, and you realize it's junk, and it's coming down to Jakku, and then it lands. Maybe that's where I'm getting it confused. And then
That
it
is so
lands,
cool. That's
and then
cool too.
we cut to Ray pulling the curtain, and then you're like, oh, and then
What
there she
was the
is.
beginning of The Force Awakens? I'm trying to remember now.
It was the planet, and then the ship coming, slicing the planet, the shadow of the ship slicing the planet, and then the shuttles are going to Jakku, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I remember they said that opening was like so mind blowing, and I was like, it was a little overwhelming, not gonna lie, but the openings that they had in mind for it would have been pretty cool. But
Mm.
the Rise of Skywalker trailer was surreal. That was nuts, man. Like getting the title reveal was beyond anything when we saw it at Celebration in Chicago.
Yeah, the people
Um,
turned to us and said, is this like an important deal that's happening
I
here?"
punched that woman in the face, like we never saw her again. But I'm just kidding. That's messed up.
They
That's
were
so.
nice. They gave me their Happy Meals.
Oh, and then they almost stole the shirt from us, but then they gave it to. Did they give it to
Well,
you or
no,
just?
when they did trivia
Yeah,
in
you
front of
gave
the
them.
whole entire arena,
You said the answer. They stole the answer from
well,
you.
I kind of gave her the answer because she was all like hyped up. She's like, I want to answer it, but I don't know the answer. And I'm like, the answer is this. Yeah, she won a shirt. But then they threw a shirt to us, and I snagged it. It's like a extra medium. I'll probably never wear it, but
Why did you give it to me? What the hell? Just joking.
because I wanted to keep it.
Um, what else? Despite all the crap that people give it, the last trailer, the Last Jedi trailer was awesome. Which one? Which Last Jedi trailer were you thinking of? Because I remember I really liked it because it was like, oh my gosh, we saw Snoke.
It was
That was
mysterious.
the theatrical trailer. Yeah, the Last Jedi really didn't have a lot of room to be fun with their promotional. It was like, this is an intense movie, and it was a
Right.
really intense trailer. I remember, um, and I remember at Celebration when they showed it, and that shot of Rey fighting with the lightsaber and Luke. Watching her, everybody went crazy, like because we all thought, oh, he's training her to fight, you know. But then again, I think Force Awakens is the best. And Zach, I also hate trailers, which is why I only watch the theatrical trailers for Star Wars. I don't watch any teasers. I don't watch, not teasers, TV spots, or when they go like, "Hey, they released new footage." I'm not watching. I always avoid all of those because I don't want anything spoiled for me. Just hate when that happens. Uh-oh. John, why are you asking us all these hard questions? What's your guys' top favorite Star Wars shows ranked? Oh man. Well,
It's like, are there 5?
we're still not done with Skeleton Crew, so I can't say.
Yeah.
I think
For me, Mando's number 1.
Mando's number one. Hmm. I'm gonna have to go with Andor is number one for me, but we're still not done with it. So it's like I can't even say if I am AI. Oh, I knew it. I knew it, John. He is artificial intelligence. That's why all these questions are coming from.
John Mitchell
Um,
Blatt.
I think for me, I think it goes Andor, it goes Ahsoka, Rebels, because Rebels is a Star Wars show. Rebels was badass. I'm gonna part of my language. Skeleton Crew is up there for me, and then it's a tie between Bad Batch and Mando for me because that last season of Mando really hurt hurt me because it felt like they started off really really strong and then they dipped really really bad. But that dip in the middle really killed Mando season 3 for me. Ended well, ended great. What was it, the 12 spies or whatever, and like the finale? I was like, this is so cool, but then that middle just messed with me.
Yeah, my hot take with that is I was okay with Mando season 3. I wasn't.
That's okay. That's his hot take. Jack Black and Lizzo and Christopher Lloyd were in the
That was
same
weird,
episode.
but
Adam Haber, Rogue One trailer, they cut the scene for the TIE fighter coming to Jyn Erso when she's on that bridge. Was a big disappointment. They didn't cut the scene. They shot it just for the trailer. That whole scene was just for the trailer. Never, no intention of being in the movie. Her limping, and I was like, what the hell? What do we got? So Kenobi minus the hiding of the jacket of the Inquisitors.
I didn't mind the hiding in the jacket. That's like an old like Hollywood.
Even
trope.
she called it out.
I didn't think it was that big a deal. I mean,
was so funny. She was like,
on Earth, yeah, it'd make it would be kind of ridiculous, but in Star Wars, it could be an alien like humanoid. You know, I mean, you never know.
What did she say? She was like, I'm hiding in the jacket. I'm like, they're gonna see me. Like she called it out on the set. Like they're gonna see. But Zach says 2 is Mando, 3 is Skeleton Crew, 4 is Andor. I wonder what 5 is. And 5 is Tales of the. Oh, I forgot about Tales of the Jedi. Oh,
we're gonna get a third season.
Great. When will Snoke come into the picture? They keep hinting at him and cloning and stuff. Yeah, I think we're gonna get Snoke fairly soon. I know you and I talked a while back, maybe Ted also, about Skeleton Crew being the perfect kind of moment where you kind of sneak Snoke. That sounds weird. Where you kind of get sneak into the storyline, and somehow you realize, oh, he's in charge. And I don't know. It's like Snoke. There's a lot of ways they could bring him in, and it's just wondering how are they going to do it, because they have to. They can't just ignore that. They can't ignore that whole character. I think very soon we're going to get Snoke, and yeah, we'll see what happens. What are y'all's most overhyped Star Wars film or show? Well, I've liked them all. I think, I hate to say it, but I think Kenobi was a little hype. No, Book of Boba Fett was really overhyped for me. Book of Boba Fett had a lot of potential. Book of Boba Fett, again, started very well. Those first 2 episodes were so great. And then it just kind of fell off. And then you get the Mando arc. And then
those Mando episodes were the best episodes of that show, and Boba Fett wasn't even in the show, which was odd. But I mean, if it's something good, I'll take it.
You have to, yeah. But
yeah, John Mitchell says Rogue One is overhyped.
I remember, my wife was a little disappointed with Rogue One, and even I was a little disappointed with Rogue One when I first watched it. It's grown on me.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, it was because
I thought it was underhyped.
Well, only because I knew, like, for me, I always tell people the last 40 minutes of Attack of the Clones are godlike. Like, those last 40 minutes are just the best. You got to just get to that. You have to just kind of force your way to get to those last 40 minutes of both of those movies to get that amazing payoff. That's how Rogue One felt to me. It felt like I was like, I got to just get through this. And they had so many characters they had to introduce, and they had so many things they had to cover. And it was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. If the movie would have been 3.5 hours long, I think I would have enjoyed it more. But it felt like they rushed so much at the beginning to get the story going. But like I said, once they land on Scarif, then it's like, this is the coolest movie ever. Like, this is amazing. The battle is so great. But that's just my opinion. That's my hot take. That's gonna be my new thing for the year. I'm just gonna say weird hot takes, and I'm just messing. Andor is better. I think Andor is fantastic. The spinning shot in the Power Ranger bike. Oh, that chase sequence. And it's directed by Robert Rodriguez, who knows how to shoot action. And it was like, what did you do, man? Like, how did you mess that up so badly?
Yeah, his season 2 of Mando episode with the reintroduction of Boba Fett was just the best.
It was so cool.
And then we're like, we're going to get a whole series of this?
And then we did not.
And then, no, we really didn't.
The Book of Boba Fett is my least favorite show, but has the best live action Star Wars episode with Luke, I think. Yeah, like it's weird, but the Mando episodes of Book of Boba Fett were amazing. And it's like that doesn't make any sense. Rogue One is great, just don't care much for the main characters. Yeah, see, told you. It's a thing. Rise of Skywalker, most underrated Kylo Ren and Rey story. Yeah, I know a lot of people. I will say I talked to a friend of mine and she had just gotten into Star Wars last year. She had binge watched all of them, and I asked her opinion on the Rise of Skywalker, and she was like, "It was so good." She was like, "The ending, the fact that she was the granddaughter of Palpatine, I had no idea." And like she was in it, and she thought that was just the greatest twist ever. And I was like, "Okay, there are people out there who genuinely love the Rise of Skywalker," and it makes me sad whenever people just say, "Oh, you're wrong," and it's like, don't pick on people for liking the Rise of Skywalker. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
let people enjoy Star Wars. Let people enjoy their Star Wars. And again, I'm not picking on anybody who likes any. You know what I mean? It's just I'm just telling everybody, just be nice, please. Um, Sorry, back to the trailer. Come on, Adam. We're on a different topic now, dude. Anyways, let me read this. Let me read. I'm just joking. Sorry, back to the trailers. But in the Force Awakens trailer, cutting out the scene of Kylo Ren igniting his lightsaber the Force like he did in the trailer, not being the movie, hurt my soul. That was, I honestly think, Adam, that was just a pure trailer shot. I think that was just a pure, just showing Kylo. I don't even think Adam Driver had the helmet on when they shot that scene. Like, it just felt very much like this is not going to be in the movie. Um, I want to see a movie with the blind guy and his friend from Rogue One. I remember we were all hoping we would get that spinoff from
What are the
Rogue
names,
One.
James?
Chirrut, and then don't remember the other guy's name. What was the other guy's name?
Baze Malbus.
Baze. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't remember their names. I remember almost everybody's Star Wars names. I can't remember the Rogue One names, but they were so great. The opening scene in The Rise of Skywalker was so effing dope in IMAX. Was that yeah, that's the Kylo Ren fighting on Mustafar and then seeing Palpatine and
Well,
the
seeing the
lightning strike.
Falcon go to different planets,
Oh, then the Falcon doing
the
the
light speed jumping.
light speed jumping. Yeah, that movie started off. It's cool, and I'm actually I was thinking about it today, and I was like, I want to watch Rise of Skywalker again. It's been a while. I want to
And
see it
Mark
again.
Hamill was in the opening too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He was the voice. And what's
Yeah.
funny is once you know it's Mark Hamill, it's like that's Mark. You know, like there's
Yeah.
no way you. It's like how did I not know that was Mark Hamill doing?
Can I
that?
do anything for you? Win the war.
Win the war. What would y'all think about Matt Smith getting involved in Star Wars in some capacity? I loved him in Doctor Who, and he's crushing. He was supposed to be.
Yeah, this is a loaded question right here.
Yeah, Noah. Thanks. Just kidding.
Story
But no,
time.
Noah, but Matt Smith was originally supposed to be in The Rise of Skywalker. He was announced. I think he was even on IMDb, and then it was gone. So I think the theory was his character was written out of the movie during production, and he never who he was going to play. We don't know. The rumor was he was going to play a young Palpatine, or
Which doesn't line up. They don't look alike.
they don't look alike, or he was
Got a
going to
very
play
flat face.
the another like ultimate villain. That was probably another theory. Like he was going to come out as like a big type of villain. Yeah, he was supposed to be there, but they kind of just they let him go. And I think even he said like there were talks, but then he didn't hear anything, and then he just said, "Oh, okay, I guess that's it." You know what's funny? He had to audition for House of the Dragon, which I think that's even Matt Smith had to audition for House of the Dragon. But Patty, who played the king in the first season of House of the Dragon, was like, "I didn't have to audition." He was offered the role of the king, so good for him. They must have meant the casino scene was great in IMAX.
You know, I didn't have that big an issue with that scene. Like a lot of people did.
People, I think
You're like
it's
the movie just stopped.
If you ever want to hear David laugh harder than you've ever heard him laugh, go back to our first episode almost 7 years ago when I said that about the Phantom Menace. David had a great laugh about that. But I've never had an issue with Canto Bite. I've enjoyed Canto Bite because I understood what Ryan. I'm not saying y'all didn't. Jeez, don't think about that. But in my brain, I was like, oh, I see why he did this. Like we're getting a scene that we've never really witnessed before in Star Wars, where you have this whole galactic struggle happening, but then you have people on another planet just living their lives like nothing, like it's not affecting them, but in reality, it really is affecting them. And I never had a problem with Cancel Bite. I thought it was pretty great. The only problem I had the only thing I had an issue with was Benicio del Toro's role was a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. So, because Benicio del Toro is amazing, and I think Benicio del Toro would have made a better Emperor in Dune Part 2. He was my first pick for the Emperor. I was like,
I could see that.
Yeah, thank you. Now, a lot of you are not going to be able to unsee that. So you're welcome. I think Simon Kinberg trilogy is Old Republic. Not so many are jumping to conclusions. They're announced the timeline celebration. Hopefully, was on. Yeah, Simon Kinberg is still. I like that he's still involved with Star Wars.
Yeah.
The actor in Solo didn't like Ford either, though. What are we doing?
Yeah, the Solo standalone Star Wars story, Alden Ehrenreich.
I thought it was great. Oh, Mike! Oh my gosh!
How's it going, Mike?
For joining us. Happy New Year, and may the force be with you, David and James. Thank you, Mike. Great seeing you. We got to hang out with Mike in Chicago. That was really fun. Thoughts on Road to the Hut being Jeremy Allen White? We'll see. That's casting that I never thought I would hear.
Yeah,
we just got to wait and see what happens with that.
That's directly from left field. Apparently, there's a rumor out there that this is going to be a fit Hut, a buff Hut. So, what the Hut's capabilities are going to be, I don't know. Is it going to be humanoid? Is it going to be able to move, like keep up with a person walking, running? It'd be interesting to see. That would be something that I wouldn't have chosen for a bingo card to see in the future, but apparently that's what we're going to get.
So, I don't know if you remember, but Jedi Visions, Star Wars Visions, the first episode with Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the singer, and they're singing that the guitarist was a Hutt, and he was kind of just walking with them, and it was like, okay, I wonder if they're gonna go with that weird design where it's like a person standing, but then he has a little tail behind him, and it was just weird. We'll see.
Well, I have a buddy at my corporate job I work at during the day. He told me that in I guess it was Battlefront on the PC, he made a Hutt as his character.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so how did you what did the animation look like when the Hutt had to keep up with everyone? Because everyone's at the same speed, I believe. And he's like, they just went like, it's like kind of like did that along the sand, and it's like, whoa, it's like he's like really, really fast, and it worked. And I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if we're ever going to see that, but apparently looks like we are going to see something like that, possibly.
That just weirds me out.
Or, I mean, he could do the snake with the body style. I mean, yeah.
Mike says, can't wait to see you guys report from Celebration Japan. Is Hayden coming to Celebration Japan? I don't know. He hasn't been announced. A lot of celebrities haven't been announced yet for Japan.
Gosh, Japan feels like so soon.
Japan feels, I'm not trying to get anyone's hopes up, but I am kind of looking at flights for Japan. So just saying, flights are being looked at.
James, you got to go.
So,
you know how much the listeners and the viewers of the Star Wars Stuff podcast would love to meet you in Japan?
In Japan.
And be like, oh my gosh, you do look like an actor.
Well, you know what they're gonna say? Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? That's exactly what they're gonna say.
Most popular actors are short.
So. No, not. I don't know.
You work, man.
Okay, I appreciate it. Noah says, speaking of Roto, what are y'all hoping for the character? Personally, I'd like to see a Hutz that's more of an anti-hero as opposed to a typical fat gangster. Yeah, that's true. To see somebody who's not following in his father's footsteps, doing his own thing, almost like Michael Corleone from The Godfather, trying to live his own life and not be a part of his father's legacy, but he gets roped in, I don't know. It's like, I'm already in Japan. We know, Zach. We know you're already there. Yeah. What is this? Bunky Dunko?
What is Bunky Dunko?
I don't know what Bunky Dunko is.
We probably know it. We just don't know the name associated to it.
John, are you sure you're not like an AI bot just like there to give us things to talk about? Because you're doing a great job. And if you're watching if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, right now we have our comment section going on, and John Mitchell is just giving us a bunch of stuff to talk about. What are y'all's favorite? What's your guys' favorite sequel movie? Mine's gonna be controversial. So I'm just gonna say mine just to get out of the way. The Last Jedi is my favorite sequel film. I think it's great. But like all the other Star Wars movies, I love every single one of them. I think every single one of those Star Wars movies, all 9, is great. So but when it comes to the sequel trilogy, I think The Last Jedi is my favorite. What about you?
It's The Force Awakens.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And I love that original script. Zach says, "Get out, James."
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm waiting for Craig to show up here.
Oh my
Walk
gosh.
in and start to fight me here.
Craig's
I
gonna
know
walk into your room.
I get a lot of people look at me like, really? And it's just like, yeah. And I've had people say, as a Star Wars fan, you still say that's your. I was like, yes, as a Star Wars fan, I still say it's one of my favorites because
David is right.
David is right. I don't like Iden Versio. I liked Iden Versio though. I thought Iden Versio was great from the Battlefront 2 game.
So yeah, if you live in Japan or if you're going to Japan for Celebration, you can argue about the Last Jedi in person with James.
Oh man,
on the convention floor.
What makes me laugh about, I don't know, everybody's like Rian Johnson, blah 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 blah. I'm like, that guy is doing great.
Well, see, that's the thing. I think that's the big thing for James is he's a huge Rian Johnson fan, and he's met Rian Johnson before outside of Star Wars.
Yeah, I met him right at Looper is what I met Rian Johnson. And I had seen Brothers Bloom. I loved it. And then I Looper was coming out. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. And then I went to go and he was there and I walked up to him and said, hey, can I get a picture? He goes, yeah. And he took a picture with me and I was like, dude, awesome. Thank you.
And I definitely got to give a lot of credit to Rian Johnson for staying up till like 5 a.m. with us fans in Orlando in 2017 and signing autographs till like 5 a.m. Awesome. Guys. Till 5 a.m. I got an autograph and a picture with them. It was fantastic. I was like, oh my gosh, this dude is great. He gets it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to hear him talk about Star Wars because you're like, dude, he's in it. Like he's like in it. And yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. He does do other great, but like I said, when I saw Star Wars, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted. Did you ever see Jamie Lee Curtis when they were promoting Knives Out? She was like, they asked her about Rian Johnson, and she's like, I've seen all his movies. She goes, I love them all, even Star Wars. And she goes, stop, everybody, knock it off. Okay, the way she said, don't be negative. It's good. I was like, geez, okay, Jamie.
Yeah, so yeah, Rian Johnson is in that short list of directors that all big time directors want to work with. Like they're not, it's every big time actor or up and coming actor wants to work with Rian Johnson.
Yeah, because he's got to. And Josh Brolin was talking about, before going on a set for Knives Out 3, which I know Johnson hates that. That's what it's called, but the third movie in the
and what's the actual title?
It's the LeBlanc character. Like that's his mystery.
Yeah, but there's an actual title for the movie, right?
Oh, not yet for the third movie. There's not a title yet for the third.
It's like The Glass Wheel or something.
Oh no, the second one was Glass Onion.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, was there the title for the third movie?
I think so. I think that's out. But of course, all the media is just saying Knives Out 3. But
yeah, Josh Brolin said like before they'd go on set, he would sit outside with Rian Johnson smoking a cigar before they'd walk into set. I was like, good, that's interesting. I never thought I'd image of Rian Johnson sitting there puffing on a cigar. Wake Up Dead Man. I apologize. Yeah, that's the name of the third movie. Wake Up Dead Man.
And yeah, I knew it had some title. So in Japan, James and I need to smoke some Japanese cigars.
That sounds scary.
You know what? I don't think I've ever smoked a cigar, like a proper cigar. I've smoked something similar to a cigar, but not.
What are you talking about? I'm just joking. I've puffed on a cigar before, and I know this is not a time to announce, but I used to smoke cigarettes, which is the worst thing. Don't ever do that. It was stupid
for like a brief amount of time, right?
It was a stupid amount of time, but yeah, just don't do it. It's bad. It's bad for you. Don't ever do that. It's the dumbest thing. I'm glad I quit. I'm done. I'm done with that.
Yeah, cigarettes never did anything for me.
It's bad. Don't ever. Is Balin Skull the best character for the Disney era? I will say he's one of those characters that could have been. I don't know. He was on his way to become like a good legacy character because his
Yeah.
it almost reminded me of Liam Neeson. Like his line delivery, the way he carried himself was so good, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
this guy is. And unfortunately, he passed away.
Yeah.
Like, he was so good.
I don't think they could get another actor out there that could replace him. I mean, people throw out Liev Schreiber and Gerard Butler, but
Gerard Butler.
to have to, well, I mean,
but Ray Stevenson had such a great presence. Like it
Yeah.
was, and man, when he's fighting with that lightsaber, it's like I was like, geez, he is just swinging that thing. Oh yeah, another thing, Ahsoka had great fights. Like that, I think that one kind of gets skipped over. Ahsoka had some good fights. The fight between her and Elsbeth was really cool, and I'm so sad she died because I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, she fights freaking amazing. Because I think she's a martial art, like she's a black belt martial artist. That actress
Right.
says, and so good. Yeah. Oh, geez, we're still on Bunko. Dunko is Peter Schilling's Major Tom coming home in Huttese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I knew we knew that. Yeah. Yep. We knew that.
And yes, I know, which is why I'm only 5'3" right now, so I don't want to hear.
You know, a lot of people said that drinking a lot of caffeine and soda would stunt your growth, and I still got to 5'11".
Yeah, cool. I'm glad.
And my parents aren't tall, so I don't know. And I knew other kids too that did a lot of unhealthy things, and they still became big people. Like the people you would figure they would be. I had a friend whose dad was like 6'8", and yeah, he turned out to be like 6'9", and he ate candy all the time and did everything you probably shouldn't do. So I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, the alien turtle fight was cool at Ahsoka.
Yeah. I did like the creatures in Ahsoka when they got to Pridia, the Howler, and then those little like Hobbit like character. Like,
and then seeing Ezra again, I mean, oh my gosh. I was almost in tears when that moment happened. I was like, oh man. Iman Isfahan, yeah, he was perfect for that role. So great.
James is a good friend now.
Yeah, he's my best friend. I was joking, but
yeah,
James I really hope to run into him
last year.
Yeah, I know it was last year. Jeez, I really hope to run into him one day and see if he remembers me. But I remember I made the joke.
It's me.
It's me.
You remember?
That's my best. Yeah, I made a good joke to him though when he was like, "Hey, can I leave my stuff here?" And we were like, yeah, go for it. He was like, yeah, because I don't want to have to be like, hey, there's a guy running around who looks like me who stole my stuff. And then I jokingly said, yeah, he has a better beard than I do, but and he was like, oh, come on. Because, we joked that my beard was much better than his beard. And I'm off to walk my dogs. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Sayonara, suckers. And thanks for saying.
Yeah, what time is it in Japan right now?
Oh, boy. I don't even. Jeez. Oh, by the way, if it's a cheap flight, check out to make sure it's not a 24-hour flight to Japan because those exist. You don't want to do that. All right.
I saw a 26-hour flight the other day.
Yeah,
and it was pretty cheap, but it was 26 hours on a plane or in an airport.
I'm not doing that. No way. No way.
I mean, you just do LAX, man. I mean, you have a pretty direct way to get there.
Still exist. Those flights still exist.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, layover in Hawaii, maybe. That'd be kind of nice.
It's 3:18 in the afternoon. That is bizarre, man.
Nice. And it's what?
It's 10:19 for me.
It's 12:19 midnight.
Yeah, so I'm closer to Japan. Weirdly. Sunday. But yeah. Anyways, what else we got? Star Wars?
Yeah, so I wanted to do a little bit of John Mitchell, that's what we do. Even when we're not podcasting, we talk about Star Wars all day somehow, some way. I don't know. The power of Star Wars. So I told James before the podcast I wanted to play a little game, a little word association game. And it kind of goes with the theme of like tonight's podcast where we're kind of answering these questions about like our opinions and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a word from Star Wars. And I want James to very, very quickly, almost without thinking, say the word that he associates with said word. Pretty simple.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very simple. It better not be okay. All right. Sorry if y'all hear that. I'm moving my microphone around. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
And I'm
Let
going
me
to cheat a
go
little
ahead.
bit. There's going to be 2 words at some point.
And
But
just so you
go ahead.
know, I don't know anything. I don't know what he's gonna say. I don't know any of this. So, okay.
All right. A single word, James. All right. You ready? Start the clock.
No. Start the clock. What?
This is rapid fire. You got to do this under 20 seconds.
Oh, okay.
All right. Here we go. You ready?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. Empire.
Strikes Back. Oh, that's more than one word.
That's fine.
Okay.
Green.
Yoda.
Red.
Maul.
Yellow.
Ray.
Helmet.
Stormtrooper.
Droid.
R2D2.
Cantina.
I can't. What Jazza?
You took too long. Pass.
Jazza is what it's called now. I couldn't say what it was.
Bounty Hunter.
Boba Fett.
Trilogy.
Sequel.
Phantom Menace.
Pod Racing.
Rogue One.
Hope.
Andor.
Awesome.
Director.
George Lucas.
Best TV show.
Andor.
Best film.
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, that's it.
Whew.
You gave some interesting answers there. I didn't think that you were going to do Strikes Back for Empire.
Well, I mean, that's like the most natural thing to say with somebody.
Okay. Because when I think Empire, I think Vader.
Empire Strikes Back.
So for green, I thought you were going to say Luke or lightsaber, but you said Yoda. That's interesting. And for red, I would have thought Vader too. Red lightsaber. But you said Maul. For yellow, of course, you said Rey. I mean, I think everyone thinks of Rey for yellow. Helmet, you said Stormtrooper. I again thought Vader. So yeah, like a lot of Vader on my brain.
Yeah, well, I was saying, what's going on with you? I was joking.
So for droid, what did you say for droid?
R2D2.
Okay, yeah, I thought C-3PO. I've seen a lot of 3PO these past couple weeks.
Yeah, 3PO was a choice, but R2D2 is kind of the OG. So, I mean, they're both OGs, but I think R2D2 is better.
So for Cantina, though, you didn't say anything. You couldn't think of anything to say.
I was going to say the Whalers. I was going to say...
Oh, the Jizz Whalers.
Yeah, but I didn't want to say that on the podcast.
That's what they're called.
And then also I was gonna start going like I was gonna start singing the song.
I would have allowed it.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. And Bounty Hunter?
I said Boba Fett.
I think I thought the same thing. But for trilogy, that was interesting when you said sequel. I don't know if the podcast tonight affected that answer, but
I think it did. And also when I looked up, I saw my posters behind me, and I was just like, okay, yeah, sequel trilogy.
And for Phantom Menace, we all know you're a big fan of pod racing, so you said that.
I love the pod racing. It's just the coolest thing ever.
And for what did you say for Rogue One?
I said
Andor?
I said Hope.
Oh yeah, you did say Hope. Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you.
That's a really good one. You got the message of Rogue One, even though it takes you a long time to get through it.
It takes forever, but man, when you get there, it is so great. I mean, when that last line of Rogue One hit, I remember I was almost in tears. I was like, "Oh, this is so great."
Yeah. For Andor, you said
awesome. I should have said something else.
Director, you said George Lucas. I thought you were going to say Rian Johnson.
I was going to say Rian Johnson, but I purposely said, okay, I don't want to piss everyone off.
Oh, come on. So your real answer is Rian Johnson then.
Well, my real answer almost was Irvin Kershner.
Oh, wow.
Which again didn't direct many movies or any many great movies, but he did direct Empire Strikes Back. So say whatever you want about him.
And for best TV show, of course, you said Andor, and for best film, you said Empire.
Yep.
So
that was fun. You should do that more often.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I enjoy that. I really did.
I always do wonder what people think when they hear certain things. When they hear Star Wars, what's the first thing you think of? I think about the logo.
I was gonna say
when the movie's open, you know?
I think about the and just
Yeah,
that
John
moment.
Williams.
Oh my gosh! So I was at work and they have HomePods, and I like cranked it up and I said, "Hey Siri, play the Star Wars main theme." And it should playing Star Wars main theme by John Williams and the London Symphony Orchestra. Then, bam! And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was so loud, but it was
Wow.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you see James and I in Japan, you can ask James several more word associated questions Star Wars to see what he answers.
That
So
is true. You can't ask me that. I will answer. So
yeah. So yeah, I think that's the podcast, and we hope to see you, everyone out there, sooner
yes,
than later.
thank you
We
so much.
might be going to Orlando here pretty soon for MegaCon. That's a possibility. I know Colin is going for sure.
Yeah.
So if you see Colin, what I'm going to try and do, if I'm not able to make it, I'm probably going to send Colin some of our newer stickers, and we made some pins as well. Primarily for Japan, but you can get them kind of early. And we also have a lot of SpaceCon stickers left over, so you can get some of those as well. And some magnets. I have them right here. They're actually stuck to my metal table.
Sebulba.
Yeah, I would say Sebulba too.
I would say
for
Sebulba.
Pudu.
Yeah.
Or, however, I mean, I might say Eope.
No, I'd say Sebulba because I just think of him hit after he crashes his pod racer. That's what I think about.
Well, I think about the Eope turning back around the camera, and then
Oh
like
yeah, George Lucas was
that
like,
whole deal.
"This
Yeah,
is in the movie. This is in Star
cinema.
Wars." Yeah. Scorsese looked at him and was like, "Good job." Just
Yeah.
but anyways. But everybody in chat, thank you so much for keeping us entertained. John Mitchell for keeping us keeping the topics coming. That was great. Thank you so much for that. It was really fun.
For sure, guys. And don't forget to check us out everywhere on social media, all the big social media sites: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can just find us easily by searching up Star Wars Stuff Podcast. Instagram specifically, SW Stuff Podcast, Twitter, Stuff Pod. We're on Blue Sky now. So if you want to follow us there, Star Wars Stuff, just search that up. Threads, Patreon, of course. We have awesome Patreon members that help us.
Yes.
Actually, we're going to be changing our StreamYard subscription because they've really, really raised the price. So I think we're going to drop down to like the monthly subscription because I think they want to charge us like almost like $1,000 for a year. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to pay that much. And yeah, we just don't have the funds right now. We're kind of saving for Japan too. So yeah, that's going to change a little bit. And I think we're only going to be streaming to 3 platforms once we do that. So we might remove Facebook from the equation and just do Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube because those are really kind of the big 3. So yeah, look for that in the future. We also have a TikTok. You can find us there. You can email the show at starwarsstuffpodcast@gmail.com. Facebook, of course, we have a page and a group, and write a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you guys have done a terrific job with that all throughout 2024. The reviews help. I think you've kept us like in the top 5, 4, 3 all throughout 2024 in Star Wars podcasts listened to. It's been great. It's kind of mind-blowing to see something like that. And when people say, hey, you have a Star Wars podcast, I just show them that. And like, oh, you're actually...
Yeah, they're like,
people actually listen to you. And it's like, yeah, that's I'm delivering pizza right now to help buy stuff and supplement what we're doing here and go to Japan and London and all these other places. So, yeah, thank you for all the love and support out there. Everyone in chat tonight, y'all were awesome. We're still getting comments here. And yeah, Charles Winthrop on YouTube says, Dave, are you part of the 501st? I'm in reserve status right now because all of 2024 I wasn't able to troop as a New Hope TIE pilot. So yeah, I've been really busy. I'm delivering pizza on the side so we can fund stuff for mainly the trips. Going to Japan is going to cost a lot of money. So
yeah,
got to pay for that ticket, the hotel, and all that. And I might be taking out a loan for that.
Oh,
Because I should be able to repay it pretty quickly back, because I have saved quite a bit of money for it, thanks to the good people of my hometown with their tips. So yeah, part of the 501st and reserve status. Not sure if I'll stay in because I just really don't have that extra time to go troop and stuff. But I have a couple of really good friends in the 501st Star Garrison Imperial Rough Rider Squad, Chris and Jordan, who are Patreon members and listen to the podcast all the time, which is great because I really revere those guys and they have a lot of Star Wars knowledge and have done a lot of Star Wars stuff in their life. So, and yeah, Jordan just showed me a picture of the ghost he got from HasLab. He's like, man, this thing is huge. I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting on 3, and the 3 showed up, and it like filled up the foyer of my house, and I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, we still have to. We gave one of those away in 2023 to one of our. It just so happened one of our Patreon members. He had more entries, so Colin pulled his name from the list of people, and we're still yet to. Ship that off because shipping is like $200.
jeez.
And it's not going overseas. It's going to one of the states, one of the landlocked states. So yeah, it's a lot of money. So yeah, Charles on YouTube says part of the Neon City Garrison here. Nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah, 501st does a lot of cool stuff. If you don't, I think the 501st is really cool for people that are into Star Wars and they don't know a lot of people who are that hardcore in Star Wars.
Yeah.
When you meet people in the 501st, it's like revealing a side of people that it's not very easily revealed, because I went to some of these people's houses and like their whole house is like Star Wars, top to bottom, ceiling, all walls, restroom. And it's like, I thought I was a big Star Wars fan. So yeah, there's a lot of hardcore Star Wars, just people that live Star Wars lives, you know.
Yeah.
I do to a certain extent, but it's amazing that the people that are out there that, I mean, you're in like a movie theater with them and you just don't know. I mean, you see them wearing a shirt or whatever, just don't know the level of fandom some of these people have, and it's an incredible thing to be a part of that community and to see, especially the people in your area. If you're in a big city, it's great. It works out, and there are some like little like detachments, like in Texas, or like in smaller cities where people have to drive like an hour or 2 away from their house and like meet up and do the whole trooping thing. But yeah, it's an interesting thing if you find a really good group. So. Charles Winthrop also says on YouTube, my dad knew Albin Johnson, the creator of the 501st. So yeah, I ran into Albin actually 2017 when Colin and I first met. We went to the Bash and we saw Albin for a second. We took a picture with him. He left, but then when I went to Disney World a couple years ago, I guess now, I ran into Albin just randomly inside of a Disney store at Disney Springs. So I talked to him for a little bit, and I think we were like, yeah, come on the podcast. He's like, yeah, sure. But yeah, we just haven't got that solidified yet. And Colin has talked to him recently. So yeah, Charles also says, what's cool is people who have built their own 1-to-1 scale TIE Interceptor.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's on a level beyond. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do something like that, but yeah, I just don't have the time or the money or the
resources.
Really anything. Yeah, resources and money. Yeah, that's a big thing. Time. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for everyone commenting in chat. It's been great. First podcast of the new year.
Yep.
James and I, and I think we found out that James really loves Star Wars and is going to Celebration. So with that, thank you for joining. For James, my name's David. May the Force be with you.
always.